puppy went to the bathroom right on the kitchen tile floor in front of us.
That was
Your
in
response-
dispute, and that's why we left it the way we
That's
left it.
not true.
Well, I think it is true.
This is probably one of the top of my list of destruction of property.
These are the two ferocious dogs that were in my possession.
He was upset.
Plaintiffs Vicki, Stephan, and Ronald Ross claim the defendant let their rental property go to the dogs. They're suing for $3,338 for property damage. Defendant Ted Cohen claims he offered to clean and repair the property, but was told not to. He says he owes nothing.
What you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Good morning, Judge.
Morning, Najee. How are you?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank you.
Good.
This is case number 041 on the docket. Stephan and Ross versus Cohen.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome, Judge.
Let me see what we have here. We have the plaintiffs, Vicki, Stephan, and Ronald Ross. You are suing your tenant or former tenant, Ted Cohen, for $3,338 for property damage.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Should I be calling you Dr. Ted Cohen?
You can call me doctor, you can call me Ted. Don't call me late
Okay.
for lunch, that's fine.
Okay, I tell the jokes here.
Okay.
Minus 1 point. Okay. All right, so let's listen to the plaintiffs first. Why don't you tell me your side of the case first?
Back in the summer of 2017,
Yes.
Vicki and I had been looking for a retirement home in the Las Vegas area. My realtor called and said, I think I have a house you would like. And upon previewing the house, decided it would be perfect for our retirement, which would be in the future, probably somewhere from 2 to 5 years out. But
Good.
because the houses are scarce and it's rarely come on because it's a retirement community, we decided to go ahead and move forward and buy the house now and make it a rental and then make it our retirement home in the future.
Okay, I get it.
So we proceeded with the purchase of the property, and I was referred to a property management company, and they found my tenant, Mr. Cohen, for me, and did the paperwork and did the background check and made the recommendation that he would be a good tenant.
So what happened now?
He started his lease in September of 17, and the lease ended in March of 2019.
So that was an 18-month lease.
Correct.
Okay.
At the end of the lease, we were still not ready to move forward to use the home, so I contacted Mr. Cohen and asked him if he
Dr.
would...
Cohen, by the way.
Dr. Cohen.
Dr.
Thank you.
Cohen.
Okay. Contacted Dr. Cohen and asked him if he would be interested in staying on for another 6 to 8 months, which he was positive about and replied back to me, yes, I would. And we finally agreed on end of November, December 1st for an extension.
So what's the problem now?
Originally, before I bought the house, it was in pristine condition. Everything was immaculate. And when we got the house back, not so much. And I would like to tell you that I have been doing rental housing for more than 30 years, had multiple tenants. This is probably one of the top of my list of destruction of property. I'm going to turn it over to Vicki because she has more of the chronological events.
I dealt with Dr. Cohen.
Thank you.
I had most of the dealings with Dr. Cohen at the time of his vacating the property. We agreed to the December 1st date. That is correct. And in September, we contacted Dr. Cohen, asked if we could come by, do some measurements for the house, because we were going to be in Las Vegas Labor Day weekend to buy furniture for the house. And he said that was fine. We noticed that they had a new puppy. When we rented the home to Dr. Cohen, it was for one person and one, I believe it was a 7-year-old dog, but an older dog. He had put up dog gates in the kitchen to keep the dog out of the rest of the house, and they were bolted to the walls. And he also put up dog gates on the patio, and they were bolted to the walls. And he said not to worry, that at the time that he vacated, the walls would be repaired, the patio would be repaired, and we didn't have to worry about it. And in fact, the puppy went to the bathroom right on the kitchen tile floor in front of us. But we were moving in a couple months, he was moving out, and we just didn't want to make a big deal out of anything. We just wanted
Okay.
him to be able to move and us to move in. Shortly thereafter, Your Honor, he asked us if we would be willing to extend the lease or shorten the lease because they were trying to find another place. We said we were sorry, but we would definitely not lengthen the lease because I already had plans with furniture ordered, and to shorten the lease was not viable either because we expected the rent for November. He then asked, as a compromise, would we allow the November rent, the last rent, to be taken out of the security deposit. Ron was not in favor of it. I, like a good soul, says, okay, I trust Dr. Cohen. I think he'll leave the house in the order that he said he would. He promised at that time that he would repair the walls, the house would be cleaned, and he would shampoo the carpets. So then I
Okay.
asked him if he would allow a carpet estimator and a painter estimator to go in. I didn't know if we were going to paint or carpet, and he was willing to do that. And when the carpet bid came back, it said there were pet stains throughout the house. And so I sent that to him, and Mr. Ross, Ron here, said he did not want to have the November rent deducted from the security deposit because he felt uncomfortable with pet stains. What else would there be? We contacted the property manager. We asked the property manager to contact Dr. Cohen, let him know that the November rent would be due and it wouldn't be deducted from the deposit. Unfortunately, the property manager did not notify Dr. Cohen until 3 weeks later. So when he finally was notified, he was upset.
So to round this out, you're suing for what you say are damages that were left to your house when he moved out.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
In terms of the rent, the last month's rent was, as you finally all agreed or whatever, was the security deposit. Because the security deposit, looking at the lease, is $2,150, and that's what the monthly rent was, right?
Well, there was an additional $250 cleaning deposit and a $250 pet deposit and a $150 key deposit.
Had he paid when he moved in the pet deposit,
Yes.
the $250?
Yes.
And he paid the key deposit, the $150?
Yes.
And the cleaning deposit, was that put in?
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out what may be owed and what isn't, but the deposits he paid, so now the question is, what damage beyond the deposits was there? What do you want to say, Dr. Cohen?
Well, thank you, Judge, and good day again. You know, I'm not here to speak disparagingly of Ron and Vicki. That's not the reason that I'm here. I'm here because I feel this is disingenuous. Vicki stated, or Ron stated, that the house was left in pristine, or was, when they bought the house, was in pristine condition. Well, it was left in pristine condition when I left it. Now, can I offer some evidence, sir?
Yes.
These are the two ferocious dogs that were in my possession. Yes, we did have a puppy at the time, which was Truffles. It's a golden retriever, a golden doodle, and the older dog was a Havanese. It's true, when we first moved into the house, they got a prorated rent of, I don't remember the amount, for the amount of time that we were in. We came in on the 15th of the month, so they had a prorated amount of $1075 plus a security deposit of $2150. Plus they got $650 in securities and miscellaneous things. So that was all paid for. Let me go down to like the end of this. When Vicki and Ron had asked their quote-unquote carpet estimator and painter to come through, I specifically asked them if they wanted me to, number one, to the painter, do you want me to patch the holes and repaint? He said, no, we're going to redo that. And the same thing for the carpenter, excuse me, for the carpet person. I said, do you want me to clean the stains like I had done many times in the past? And he said, no, they're changing the carpets, so we let it go. However, I felt when I left the premises that it was important to close some of the holes, like is in the lease, which we did. We spackled, then I also repainted. I also have an evidence, items number B through J, which shows the house and how it was left when I left. And also, one thing they didn't tell you, Judge, is that we had possession of the house in November of 2019. Although we left in October, we still had possession of the house. Sometime in November of 2019, Vicki and Ron had hired a construction company to come in and to do some remodeling in the house. These people came in, they tore down walls, they took out windows, they put up new walls, they walked around the house. I was not told. Now, possession is 99% of the law, if I'm correct. Now, I was supposed to be told at least 24 hours in advance that these people were coming through. So we had construction workers in the house during a period of time that I had possession, unbeknownst to me, making changes and remodeling the home. So my argument here, sir, is that many of the things that Mr. Ross and Vicki are going to talk about were done by the construction company and not by us. Thank
That's
you.
not true.
Well, I think it is true, Vicki.
Okay, may I speak, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
November 2nd, Mr. Cohen notified our property manager that he was out of the house and notified her to
It doesn't matter. I still had possession of the house, Vicki, whether I was out or not out. Doesn't make a difference. I could have been on vacation.
to notify the utility companies and to put the utility companies' utilities in our name.
Not until December of 2019.
Not true.
Well, no, it is true.
Okay, Your Honor, you have copies of all the texts in the emails, and there is an email from Ted to Melissa that said, I am out of the house. Please transfer the utilities over to Ron's name.
Yes, in
And
December of 2019, not immediately.
so as far as I was concerned, he vacated the house. He was still responsible for the utilities, but he turned them off, so I went ahead and turned them on in my name. I did have a contractor come in and remove 2 windows in the master bedroom and remove
The second
one,
bedroom, Vicki, not the master bedroom, I believe. Was
2
it?
windows in the master
Okay, so they
bedroom.
went all through the house then.
and
Okay.
1 window in the guest bedroom. That was it. There were no walls removed. They only worked in the
I had
back
to
of the
remove a
home.
wall to take out a window and replace the
Okay,
wall.
let her talk.
Here is the window. They pushed the window out. They put a, what do you call that, sheetrock on, textured. Then on the outside of the house, they put stucco and painted it. There were no walls removed.
Judge, contrary to Vicki, and I can appreciate her story, I have pictures of this pristine condition they left the house in. That's what it looked like. And regardless, the home was still mine. I'm still paying rent. People made changes to the house without our permission, entered the house while I was still in possession
But
of
the
the home.
lawsuit is specifically on the issue, not of who was living there, who got in time, who had to walk through. It's specifically on the issue of certain conditions that are in the house after you left. You have listed items, and the amount that you're suing for is $3,338, and you've listed those items. Some of those items you listed, it's virtually impossible at a distance, or even using my judgment, well, that is dirtier than it should be. I mean, that is a subjective decision. Now I look at your list, and on your list, there are some items that I do think are the tenant's responsibility. In this case, the defendant's responsibility. For example, $300 for the homeowners association violations. You were living there at the time.
Yes, that was
that's
in
your
dispute, and we never resolved
But
that.
it's there at $300. That's your argument, I guess, is with the HOA.
Right.
The carpet replacement, the lease specifically states that if there is damage to the carpet, causing it to have to be removed, that should be taken care of by the tenant.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
If-
My understanding from the person who came from the carpet company, and when I asked him specifically if he wanted me to have this professionally cleaned, he said, no, it's being replaced. That's why we left it the way we left it.
Where is that statement by the?
It was,
do you have
it
that?
was in discussion, no, sir. There's nothing written down.
Okay, hold on. It says here, if the tenant elects to add or replace a pet, an additional pet approval must be granted. So for the second dog, as cute as the dog is, in fairness, the landlord has to approve that, or you have to get that permission for the second dog.
So this case
The
is
tenant
about dogs,
agrees-
Your Honor? Is that what this case is about, dogs?
No, I'm trying to say who gets responsibility
I
for what the
understand
dog
what you're
does.
saying.
Hold on. The tenant agrees to keep pet waste picked up from the yard regularly, agrees to be responsible for all damage done by pets, even if the cost of the repair exceeds the amount of the deposits on hand. The drapes in the family room are missing.
Yes,
That-
we actually have those in the home. I just negligently never brought them over to them.
So here's what I got. I got $1,000 on the carpet replacement, $350 on the drapes. I'm going to give $250 on the holes in the wall, repairing the holes in the stucco from the dog gate, so it's not just in the wall, and the $300 on the homeowners association violations. So even though the plaintiff sued for $3,837.37, I fine for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,900.
I feel the judge was relatively fair. I think it was a little bit, I think he gave them more than they actually deserved for this.
Tenants have a responsibility, but owners have to bear some of it, even though they don't like the outcome of having to bear somebody else's mess.
Sometimes realtors are like they say lawyers. You can tell they're lying when their mouth is moving.
I've become more of a distrusting person out of this, which I don't like to admit.
YouTube, thanks for watching. For more Judge Jerry, click here. For more Jerry Springer, click here.